There we go. Now our colleagues who couldn't join us today will be able to watch this later on. But first, I just wanted to welcome everybody. This is our Library Learning Lounge, where we take a different look each month at one of our many databases in the library. And today we are so excited to have you here today for our webinar on Scopus. I know this is a resource that we in the library, as well as you, faculty, have been asking for a long time. So we're so lucky with our partnership with UA Libraries, we've been able to finally get Scopus to share with our academic community. So Scopus, if for anyone who's maybe not familiar, whether you're working on a literature review, tracking citations, identifying trends, Scopus is a really powerful tool that can support your scholarship in meaningful ways. So our goal today is just to walk away with practical skills that you can apply, refining searches and understanding those citation metrics and just all the wealth of data that Scopus has in store. And I'm not going to be the one to walk you through it. We are going to hand it over to the experts, Jerome and Alyssa, to answer all our questions today and really show us what this powerful tool can do. But before we get started, just a quick housekeeping note. I'm going to turn my camera off once we start the demo, and I'm also going to mute myself. I just ask that all of you, at least for the demo portion, we turn our cameras off and mute so that we get a really good recording. And if you have a question to ask, you can always, we want this to be engaging. You can drop your question in the chat and we'll make sure that we get to it. Or, if you just have a quick question, then you can unmute your microphone during the demo. We want this to be, a lively and engaging training session. And we promise we'll have questions at the end. And anything that if we can't answer, we will always follow up. I will be dropping a couple links in the chat once we get started so you can follow along. We have a scholarly research tip sheet that walks through some of the techniques that you or your students might use in Scopus. We also have an HTML announcement so you can easily post about Scopus in your courses after this demo. So after the Zoom today, just a heads up, once you close your Zoom, you will be prompted to fill out a short survey about your experience today. Please do fill it out. It's only 2 questions, and it really helps us make sure that we are hitting the mark with these webinars. Before I turn things over to Jerome, I want to quickly show you how to find the Scopus database in the library. So let me make sure let me drag my library. Oh, there. Hopefully you can see my library homepage here. So Scopus is great. You can actually get to it just from our databases A to Z list. If you go to Find Articles and More, databases A to Z, and then jump to S for Scopus. It's right here on our databases list. And you can get to it that way. But the great thing about Scopus is it's really intuitive because it's plugged into I'm going to go back here to our homepage. And really, if you're just doing any sort of search, I'm going to search leadership and management. So if you're doing a search in the Library OneSearch, in our Library OneSearch database, and I apologize, right now we have this issue with EBSCO we're working on. It's just going to give me one more click to log in. There we go. So now I've got my search here. The wonderful thing about Scopus is it plugs seamlessly into our EDS, our discovery service with EBSCO, so that if I'm scrolling down now, I can see this little button here that's automatically linking me to Scopus. So right there, a student, if they find an article that they really like, this will take them automatically to Scopus, where they can see and really trace that scholarly conversation from the current article that they're looking at to just a wealth of other directions. Backward indexing, forward indexing, seeing the metrics and citations and all the subjects that are indexed. But so just a little snapshot of what we're about to learn more about from Jerome and Alyssa here today. So I'll hand things over to you all. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I am the research intelligence sales rep for Arizona, and I have Jerome on the call as well. He is my customer success manager for Arizona. So he's really the one who's going to be taking you through how to use Scopus today. So, with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and hand it over to him and we will begin. Also, feel free, I can see the chat at the bottom. Feel free to put any questions and we can collect them either, throughout the conversation or wait till the end, whichever works for everyone, and we can address them down there. So please feel free as we move through the presentation to leave any comments or questions below.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Hi, everyone. So, this is Simon Voice. I'm your customer success manager. Work very closely with Alyssa, who is your solutions account manager. And essentially, my job is just to facilitate your Elsevier portfolio. So, anything that is conducted post sale, I am your number one contact for access, for training, and for any other forms of engagement that will benefit your institution. So why don't we just get started? So a little bit about me. I started in deciding to get, make it a little bit more personal. So anyways, again, my name is Jerome Boyce. I am based in Toronto, Canada. I have a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science with some experiences in research. And I also have a Master of Information Science, which I got from North Carolina Central University. So today we are going to talk about Scopus. So here's our run through for today. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to Scopus, overview and data sources that go into Scopus. And then we're going to get into the fun stuff like the Scopus uses, how to find an article, how to keep up in the field, author metrics, citations, how to format and export, a little bit about our API features, and that is all going to be culminated in our live demo and question and answer. Like I said, she'll be watching the chat, so please feel free to ask any questions. And also, please feel free to stop me if I'm going too fast or if you need me to explain something over again.
Jerome, your audio keeps kind of going in and out. I'm not sure if everybody else is having the same
Y-
experience.
Yes, I was gonna ask maybe we might want to try
A little
without
choppy.
video to improve the audio.
Maybe shut your video off. It's always the culprit on Zoom.
Yeah, maybe. Does that sound better? Is that better? Okay.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
good.
My
Thank
computer is not working with me today. Okay. Thank you for that, Alyssa.
Of course.
So, okay. So to continue, what is Scopus? So, Scopus was launched in 2004, and it is a multidisciplinary citation and abstract database with over 105 million records. I know that sounds like a lot, and it is growing daily. So that places the powerful discovery and analytical tools right in the hands of researchers, librarians, and institutional research managers and funders. So a fun fact, the number of index records in Scopus has grown by 23% from January 2021 to January 2025. I'm gonna have to check to see what that number is. Now that is January 2026. But that is something that makes Scopus really special, which is the enriched data within it. And we'll see this shine through when we look a little bit at like the author and affiliation profiles. But essentially, that's just to say that Scopus is our source neutral abstract and citation database. You can use it to quickly find high quality relevant and trusted research. You can identify experts within a field, access reliable data, metrics, and analytical tools to support confident decisions around research strategy. And this is all in one database. So the metadata is linked with a powerful algorithm that has a 95% and 90% recall. While this isn't 100%, there are a few safeguards that we have put in place, which we'll talk about, that allow users to increase this to 100% precision. So I mentioned that Scopus is growing daily. And the key takeaway here is that, as I said earlier, that Scopus is very big. As of January 2026, it is indexed with over 105 million items. And this is with about 15,000 items added daily. The last time I did a training was in December, and I think we had 103 million items. So that just goes to show you how quickly Scopus is point. The factor is that I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier, but Scopus is multidisciplinary. And here you can see that it does index content within the health sciences, life sciences, physical sciences, and as well as social sciences. So please note that it is not just limited to STEM subjects, it is multidisciplinary. And we also have a lot of open access content on Scopus as well. I'm going to show you what the Scopus interface will look like from your institution, but also anything that is open access, you can then view the PDF of those documents within Scopus. So I think that's a really nice addition to the platform as well. And you can see we have different categories on Scopus. We have journals, we have conference papers, we have books, and we also have preprints, which are also indexed on Scopus as well. Okay, so also Scopus is not just only English focused content. Although titles and abstracts must be in English, Scopus records do not necessarily need to be in English as long as the titles and the abstracts are in English. So that means that because of that, we also have a global representation. So once authors put their title of their document and their abstracts in English, the rest of their paper can be in different language. So we have 40 languages that are actually indexed in Scopus. And this is because we have global comprehensive coverage. So we have coverage from over 7,000 publishers. And this is not just in the United States or in North America. This is across 105 different countries. And this leads to more global content leads to a broader coverage. And it also allows us to have multiple regional content types. So for example, you have different types of journals, conferences, books, and book series in Scopus as well. So as I said, Scopus has also added over 2.4 billion cited references, which date back to 1970. And these also complement the database's existing records that date all the way back to 1788. I believe that would have been the first edition of the Lancet. And again, more cited references result in a more extensive bibliometric and historical trend analyses. It creates more complete author profiles, and it also improves H-index measures for authors who published before 1996. Do we have any questions so far? I don't think I can see the chat. Okay.
Nothing as of yet.
Okay, great. Okay, we're also going to touch on this a little bit in the demo, but I also wanted to include this slide before we get any further. The good thing about Scopus is that we are fully transparent. If you ever want to know where any of the sources that are indexed on Scopus, you can go to your source tab, which you can find in the top right-hand corner, or you can find using this link here, scopus.com/sources. And there you can see everything that is indexed, all of the sources that are indexed on Scopus. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in the demo, and I'll show you where to find that information. So you may be wondering, okay, there's a lot of content on Scopus, but who determines what is indexed on Scopus? So Scopus is governed by our independent content selection and advisory board. So again, the quality and coverage of our data set is governed by these people, and this is a group of experts from all over the world who come together to talk about content curation. It is important that we stress they are independent of Elsevier, and they review around 3,000 titles per year. That number changes year on year, about which less than half of those get accepted into Scopus. So Elsevier content also only makes up roughly 10% of the content in Scopus. So when we say that Scopus is source neutral, we mean that. And this builds a solid base, of course, to build accurate and complete profiles, which we'll talk about a little bit. So again, this is essentially the timeline of how things are indexed into Scopus. So stage one, there are title suggestions, around 3,000, 3,500. It depends on the year, title suggestions per year. And then from there, they move to stage two, which meet the minimum Scopus criteria. And then from there, out of that stage, then we go into stage three, where the CSAB would then determine if they are indexed on Scopus. So again, also, just because something is currently listed on Scopus does not mean that it cannot be removed as well. For example, if Jerome's journal has been indexed on Scopus year on year, and then in 2026, he publishes something that is not deemed to be credible research, then he can be removed from Scopus. So during 2016 to 2020, 536 titles were actually removed from Scopus because they no longer met our guidelines. So why use Scopus? Firstly, because your university pays for it. I love to include this when I'm talking to researchers and also when I'm talking to students as well. Because people always ask, so why should I use Scopus? Of course, the importance of using scientific databases, but libraries buy tools like Scopus for you because they're convinced of the quality of the information that it contains. When you are doing research, you must be certain of the completeness and the correctness of the sources that you are using. And the short answer is basically that Scopus has peer-reviewed literature only from trusted sources. Our content is vetted approved for inclusion. Scopus also has the broadest known coverage of any peer-reviewed. Sorry, Scopus has known coverage. It has the broadest coverage of peer-reviewed sources of any database. And again, as I stated before, the content is explicitly stated in our published information, which is our sources tab. So you always know exactly what sources you are searching and analyzing and which are excluded. Sometimes in a web search like Google Scholar, it's never clear what sources are included in your search. And Scopus is designed specifically to support the exploration of scholarly literature with our precise searching and extensive tools to handle the results, such as sorting, filtering, selecting, and of course, all the other features that Scopus has to fit literary search into your workflow. So we also provide, again, consistency and transparency. We really stress this a lot. There's no mystery in a Scopus search. Everything you search, everything that you did is in the content, and it's also it can also be replicated as well. Web search engines don't guarantee consistency. Algorithms change frequently, and some rules are applied, like dropping some of your search terms to avoid giving too few results. And that's not acceptable in a scientific search. They may also personalize, guessing what you prefer to see. So you and I could get two very different results in a web search for the same exact search. Scopus is also a great complement to PubMed. There is a 100% overlap with things in PubMed.gov and on Scopus. If you want to search for PubMed content on Scopus, you just have to include the Medline title. So both Medline and other PubMed citations have links to full text articles as well on Scopus. So you can also view any of those documents that are on PubMed in Scopus. If you limit your PubMed search to mesh controlled vocabulary, or again, like the Medline subset, you only see Medline citations in your results. Okay, moving swiftly along. I'm going to talk a little bit about our APIs, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But essentially, what is a Scopus API? So let's say you create a software application that you want to populate with Scopus data. Now you could go into Scopus, download all the necessary data, and upload it manually onto your application, or you could use an API. So an API is the bridge that connects your software with Elsevier's internal systems that provide the data. So what your software gets back isn't optimized for reading by humans, but instead is made for computers to parse, manipulate, and make computations on. So the difference here compared to the Scopus web app is that the response won't be a web page, but it'll be structured data that you can then use with any piece of software that you are using your APIs with. It also should be noted that APIs are technical constructs and require some level of technical knowledge to use and implement. But even though there is a basic level of technical expertise required, there are several different approaches that you could take to get started and make use of our APIs. So if you actually went to dev.elsevier.com, there are several tutorials on how to use APIs there. And if you are interested in using APIs as well, we can have a separate session where we can talk about APIs and how it would benefit your institution. Okay, before I transition over to the demo, I'm going to ask if there are any questions.
Jerome, this is Karen. I don't have a question, but I just wanted to put in a quick reminder for faculty, because as Jerome has shown us, the breadth of the citations and abstracts available in Scopus is so large. So just keep in mind, if you come across anything in Scopus that we don't have the full text available for, just keep in mind we do have interlibrary loan. It's a very simple process. I'm going to put some links in the chat. just so you can refresh your memory about how to request something through interlibrary loan. And usually it just takes like one business day, maybe for harder to find things, a couple business days, but we can get you a copy of just about anything that you find. So keep that in mind, and I'll put those resources in the chat. Thanks, Jerome.
Please let me know when you can see that again.
Yes, looks great.
Okay. Sorry for the delay. Okay, so I'm going to start off by stating that when you are signing into Scopus, please make sure that you are signed in. That gives you a lot more functionality to use the tool. You can save searches, you can set alerts, you can also see like your exports as well and any saved lists. So it basically personalizes your account so that you can keep track. You can also see your search history here as well once you are signed in. If you are not signed in, once you close your instance of Scopus, that cache is then lost. So if you don't want to lose anything, I would also advise that, of course, please sign in. We always that's always the first thing we say when we start these demos. Okay. So this is essentially what your start page is going to look like. You can see various tabs here for Scopus. But what I'm going to walk through today, I'm going to show you how to use our basic search. And then from there, I'm going to show you how it all hyperlinks into author profiles and affiliation profiles. So what I'm going to start with today, I'm going to work backwards. I'm going to start with your organizations. I'm going to search for the University of Arizona Global Campus. And please note, so the back button always works. It doesn't break anything. So I just wanted to put that to let you know that beforehand. But again, you can search by documents, you can search by authors, you can even do a research or discovery, and you can also search by organizations. So I'm going to start backwards and search by organizations, and then we're going to work our way backwards. So from here, you can see your university's page. You can see the amount of documents that have been published at UAGC, and you can also see a list of authors as well. And anything that is underlined is a clickable link. So if I were to click into this, it would then show me all of the, let me click that one more time. There we go. It would show the authors that are, sorry, all the documents that have a UAGC author on it. If you press the back button, stop for 1 second. I'm sorry. I think my instance is signed in on the wrong thing. There we go. Right. So here you can see all of the authors that have sorry, all of the papers that have a UAGC author on it. And then here, where it has this link here, it would be where you would click to access the article at UAGC. Or like you said, it could be a place where you could also request interlibrary loan. Is that correct, Karen? Just want to make sure that's how it shows up on your end.
Um, Say that one more time.
This link here, it should link out to the article if you have access to it at UAGC. And I
Oh,
think
I
that should,
believe, yeah, I believe that's how it is on our end. I've got it
okay.
open. Let me just double check. Yeah,
Just want
I'll
to make sure.
confirm that.
Okay. Yes. So go back now. Right, so again, the back button always works, so you can go to folder issue. Oh, it's not where we wanted to go. So as well on the left-hand side, I don't think we talked about this yet, but I'm going to show this some more when we do an actual search. You can filter by author name, you can filter by subject area, document type, source title, keywords, language as well. And if you can also filter as well to see things that are open access. And as I mentioned earlier, if you were to limit to open access documents, you could then see these articles as well because they are, again, open access. So let me return back to the home page and start my search over. Okay, so if I were to go back to organizations, go back to the University of Arizona Global Campus. Right. So again, also this link as well is clickable in addition to these document links. You can also set alerts here for it as well. So whenever there's an document that is indexed in Scopus that is affiliated with University of Arizona Global Campus, if you click the set document alert here, you can also have an alert that is sent directly to your email. And you can have this frequency set to, every week, every day, or every month, where it will check when you indicate that you want it to be this search to be ran. So be so it can search for it every day, every week, every month on a specific day. And then what that alert does, it searches to see if there's new information on Scopus related with your query. And if there is, it will send you an email with a link to that document. Another thing that is really nice as well with your affiliation profile is that you can view by subject area, or you can also view by source. So you can see where your researchers are publishing in on Scopus. And then you can also see there's a nice diagram here of the subject areas as well on the right-hand side. And then also you can then see your listed structure, if there's a structure with UAGs, with the other university schools. You can also see the collaborating institutions. So you can see Francis Marion is a big collaborator. You can see Walden University, Nova Southeastern. And then if you get all of these links that are blue as well are clickable, so then you could click into here and see these 10 documents where we have collaborated with Francis Marion University. And then lastly, this is a new tab that we've added. Let's just say fairly new. We're going to update it again to include the new Sustainable Development Goals 2025. But essentially, the Sustainable Development Goals, I believe they're now gaining prominence in the US, but in other places in the world, it is a very big part of research. Essentially, these are the UN goals that were determined, again, by the United Nations. Essentially, they're trying to solve real-world problems. And our team has implemented extensive keyword queries to essentially format research into these different sustainable development goals. So I believe there are 17 goals here that you guys contribute to. And you can see them listed here. So again, anything that is blue is clickable. So you can click out to here. You can see what research here is done for reduced inequalities at UAGC. Okay, so that is essentially the organization page. Any questions about that before I continue? Okay. So what I wanted to also show, which is why I wanted to work backwards, is I wanted to also show you your researchers, and I wanted to show you a researcher from your institution as well. So we're going to look at somebody who has the most documents at your institution. We're going to look at Richard. So from here, you can see Richard's full author-generated profile. Sorry, full author profile. So essentially, an author profile is created for you when you have 2 documents indexed on Scopus. And then from there, it pulls your information in with our algorithm pulls your information in to give you an author profile. But again, it's also human managed. So for example, if Richard had documents that were linked to him that are not listed with his profile, or if you were missing documents because he published, say, under RC with his last name, then what he would do here, he would click edit profile and he would request that change. And then that change is managed by a person on the back end. So it's not automatic. And we also, again, want to make sure that we are efficient and transparent with what we're doing. So we have this person on the back end that will handle that request. And then once he confirms that that is actually his publication, it can be added, or if it's not him, then it can be removed. We also ask any authors, especially those who are here today, if you have an author profile on Scopus, to please connect your ORCID ID. That also helps to ensure that there's a 100% overlap with any publications that have your ORCID ID on it. Of course, again, like some people change their names, some people publish under different names. So if you want your author profile to be complete, please connect your ORCID ID with your Scopus profile. So here you can see his citations. You can see the citations by 203 documents. You can see the documents. You can also see his H-index on Scopus. Please note that H-index is limited to Scopus. If you are looking at Google Scholar or another medium, the H-index may look different because they have different sources. So this H-index is from papers that are within Scopus. And the really nice thing about the author profile as well is that you can also, in addition to seeing his documents, you can also see a nice trend analysis of citations within his documents as well. And then you can also see the position of him, his position of on papers as well. You can see that there was one document where he was the first author. You can see where he's the last author as well. Any single authorship that they may have or any co-authorship. Can also set document alerts, and that only can be done once you're signed in. You can also save him to a list as well if you'd like. And again, you can also export this information as well. Now, the nice thing is that you can also see who has cited his research as well, and then you can see those documents, and you can see the abstract and full text as well because it's open access. I can also see the abstract here for this specific document. And again, you can set citation alerts. So you can also set an alert to whenever this author is cited. So there's a lot of possibilities, endless possibilities that you can do within Scopus. So again, please feel free to add any questions as we are going along for any specific things you'd like to see me demonstrate. I'm pretty sure there must be some questions, but no, it's a very, very broad topic, and it's almost like a rabbit hole. You can keep going and going and going with all the different things that you can explore within Scopus. So I'm just trying to keep it very broad for right now. And then hopefully we'll get some questions at the end where we can dive into. You can also see his co-authors here as well, and we can see those co-author documents. Any specific topics, there are not enough documents where he has specific topic areas or topic clusters that he specifically publishes in, so these have not been updated yet. And then if he had any awarded grants, you can also see that here on his profile as well. So the awarded grants are indexed where the paper has the grant ID or grant number on it, then it's linked into their profile with their awarded grants. Okay, so if we wanted to search for one of his articles, let's say if we wanted to search for, say, technological applications to the marketing classroom, let's go back to Scopus, the beginning. And we wanted to search for, I forgot what the title was. So cited by, so alien consumers and their flats in the marketplace. So what Scopus does automatically, I'm not sure if I touched on this to begin with, but Scopus already accounts for accented characters. It automatically puts and in between certain words. It also ignores stop words like the, it, of, and it also accounts for Greek symbols, like or any other symbols in a different language. So if you wanted to type in the symbol for omega, it would search omega the symbol and omega the word. And it also ignores capitalization as well. So if there's a capital L or a common L, it automatically accounts for that. So if you were to search for this, I'm going to show you what that would look like in a typical search. So again, you see it will search agent consumers and then search and their effects on the marketplace. If you wanted to as well, you could also edit this in an advanced search. And from there this is where Scopus becomes your playground when you want to do really advanced searching. If you're really good with Boolean, you can also do a lot of really specific searches. You have our operators here on the right-hand side. And these are also, again, we have our and, or, and not. And then these are also special operators with precedes by, where you can search in the first term, where something must precede the second by a certain number of terms, or within. So, for example, if you're looking for a specific word within a certain number of, if you're looking for like the word ice within a specific number of searches, if you want to find like glacier within a specific number of words, you can also do that here. And then there are also field codes here as well, but there are several field codes, and I don't think we may have enough time to talk about all of them right now. But again, you can also click out into these as well and explore and experiment with them. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me and ask me about them. But essentially, there's a lot of different field codes here that you can search by, and these are specific codes that will give you specific information. Okay, let's go back. Again, the back button works. Right, so again, if you wanted to search within, this is what a typical search result would look like. Again, this is a very specific search, so we only have 17 documents here that are found. And then from here, you can see, you can filter by the newest date, oldest date, cited, highest cited by, lowest cited by relevance. And you can also sort by alphabetical order for first author or source title. And then you can also limit it to a specific range in years. I think that's also important if you're looking within a specific timeline. Again, as I mentioned, you can sort by author name, subject area, document type, even publication stage as well. Any keywords and then affiliations, funding sponsors as well. So if you wanted to limit something to a specific affiliation, you would click one of these here, and then you would also click, for example, say we wanted to limit to journal, I would click limit to, or if I wanted to exclude journals from the search, I would then click exclude here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the highest cited document within this search. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click into the article page so you see what the article page looks like. So this is what the article page would look like. So this is essentially, this title is The Changing Face of Functional Foods. And you can see here it is in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition. So that journal also has a page as well here where you can see the source details of that page. And again, if you ever want to see the full information, you could click full source details here, or you could go to the sources tab here and look at that as well. And you can see it's this amount of citations. You get an alert for whenever it's cited. And we also have something here which is called our field weighted citation impact. So essentially what that is, because we know that different fields have different levels of citations, some fields are more cited than others. So essentially we kind of call it our fairness metric. So in which a paper is weighted against other papers in its field, with one being the norm. So anything above a one is considered to be a good paper or well cited within its field. Could use one as the norm to say this is what the average number of citations a paper within its field would receive. So 1.1 means that it's cited more so above other papers within its field. So that's a good representation. Anything below one doesn't necessarily mean it's not impactful, but it does mean that it's maybe not as cited as other papers are normally cited within its field. So just a way to essentially make sense of the numbers, because again, like I said, some fields have more citations than others. So just a way of looking at the numbers and saying, okay, this paper is impactful within its field. So here you can see the abstract as we scroll down, but before we get there, there are also links here to the full text, which you will be able to see when you view your document. There should be a link to view it at the publisher, and there should also be a link here to view it at UAGC. And then once you show all information here, you can also see some more of the bibliometric information. You can see the author, the affiliation, and then stuff like the publication date. Excuse me, the publication date, PubMed ID for this specific author. You can link up to that as well. Journal, ISSN, and the publication year, and the volume, of course, and pages where this article is located. You can also copy the DOI if you're interested in that as well. And then you can also see from here, if you scroll down, then you can see the author keywords, so the index keywords. So for example, if you were to search by keywords, you can also find this. You can also search by keywords as well. You'll also see the mesh terms here that we talked about earlier. So there's mesh terms here that you can search by to find this document, but these are also index keywords. See anything M3 drug terms as well, and M3 medical terms. And then any of the chemical or CAS registry numbers are listed here as well. Also see any of the corresponding authors on the paper. Then you can also see if it has any impact. See you have its field dissertation impact here. Any topic or topic clusters that is a part of. It's a consumer perspectives on functional food nutrition. And then any Plum X metrics. So this is essentially any metrics from like social media or social mentions of this paper. And then you see there's also a policy citation as well. So it's real world insights into how this paper has affected our conversation around this specific topic. And here you can also see the citation information. Again, you can also set an alert for that. And then you can also see, which is nice as well, you can see the references here. And then again, anything that is underlined, you can click into that and view those documents as well. And you can also view those citations here as well. And then something that is also really nice is that you can also see similar documents. And these are documents that show relevant are relevant and related to this specific paper as well. So if you want to do some more, if you find a paper you want to do some more looking around, something similar, then you can also view similar documents and you will pull up some more information that are, sorry, some more documents that are similar. Do we have any questions so far? Let me look at the chat before I keep going.
I just appreciate how you've really highlighted all the alerts and saving searches and things like that. Because I know a lot of times we're going back, we're typing the same exact search terms in, and especially if
Mhm.
you're doing something like a systematic literature review, that's really, really helpful to just be able to kind of plug and play and get those alerts as they come in. So thank you.
Absolutely. And another, now that you mentioned that, another thing that you can do as well is that you can also combine queries. So once you have those searches, so thank you for mentioning that. Once you have those searches, for example, if I wanted to combine this query and this query, then I could do this, and it would combine these two queries that I have in my search history, and then it would show results for
Oh,
that
that's
specific
awesome.
search. Yeah. Well, first of all,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's essentially how it works. So you can do that as well. So if you have like a bunch of different queries that you already want to combine them as well, if there's a case where you're saying like, your search string is becoming too long to manage and you want to do like
Mhm.
individual queries, you can do that and combine them. And that would then create you can create your search like that. And you have,
That's
saved terms like
awesome.
this. But I think I did this in a previous demo and I saved this to show the difference in how search engine works as well. So this is a what we call a weld card. So essentially the asterisk here is search for any variation of the word infant afterwards. So if there were any variations of infant, it would search for mental health and infant, and there it finds of course it will find a numerous amount of documents here. And then also if I go backwards, back to my saved searches. I think this was a very specific search because I searched for specifically for canine or dog, and then I put that in brackets, and then I also searched for oral cancer. So essentially, that was a combination of oral cancer in dogs, but that was a very, very specific way of searching, and then limit the amount of documents that I received. So I think I've exhausted a lot of the search terms, but what I forgot to show you, and let me use this as an example, is that while you can also like filter through individual pages, there's also a tab here at the top right hand side that says Analyze Results. So once you click into that, it opens a new tab about your search, and I'm gonna wait for it to load. That was about 14,000 documents, so I'm hoping this doesn't take a long time to load. There we go. So what this does is that you're now allowed to see this specific search term graphically. So you can see the documents per year. I guess there was a steep drop off this year compared to last year within this specific field. This goes all the way back to this search goes all the way back to 1948. So I guess back in 1948, this was something that they were researching as well. So you can see that. And again, anything that is blue is clickable. You can then click to see those individual list of documents. And then if you scroll down as well, you can also see documents by year per year by source. I'll see documents by author. And if you click out into there, it will show you this as well. You can see the sources and where they're the years that they are being published. If you scroll down again, you can see by author, by affiliation, um, document by type, by country, subject area. And then something that is also really helpful as well is that you can also see documents by funding sponsor. So if there's a specific area of research that you're looking to conduct research in, Scopus is also a good way to identify who is funding that research. So here you can see within this specific field, you can see that the NIH is the biggest sponsor here as well. And then there's also a list here of all of these other institutions that are funding this research, sorry. And again, any of these blue, I feel like I keep sounding like a broken record, but I just want to emphasize that any of these blue links are clickable. So then you can see The fund is sponsored here of NIH and this specific e-term. And again, you can find this field code within our advanced search, or if you know it, then you can just type it right in as well. And the
That's
thing
really
about Scopus,
cool.
I think, oh yes. When I first started working for Elsevier, I actually worked a lot with Scopus and Scival as an intern. So I find a lot of this to be very, very stimulating, and it can be a little bit overstimulating if because of how broad the content is. But again, it's almost like, like you can end up going in a rabbit hole with the
For
amount of
sure.
information that it's on there. You can just keep going and going because from here you could then even analyze these results as well, and it is only analyzes this specific search. So then it's almost you can keep going and going and going, but the point of it is that you want to encourage research, and then also you're probably looking for something that's very specific. So Scopus has the broadest coverage, known coverage of any scientific database. So again, the whole goal is to provide you as much information as possible so that you can then make your own choices and navigate the platform as need be.
That is great. Wow, I have learned
So
so much. Thank you, Jerome. This is
you're more than
really
welcome.
exciting. I can't wait to sort of fall down the rabbit hole a little bit later, just kind of
Yes.
clicking through and trying some of these. I was wondering if you could show us real quick. I know there's that help section on, can you show us how to get, just for reference, like how to get to the page that shows all the different search techniques that might be helpful
Yes.
before we wrap up? Thank you.
Of course. So you can click here, which is search tips, or you can click here as well, where you can go to our support center or our tutorials. So if you go to our tutorials page, it actually shows you a lot of what we talked about today as well. So if you ever can't find this recording, or if you for some reason can't find my email and you're like, okay, I just really quickly want to remember how to do something, then you can then go to this page here where it shows, basic searching, how to save search sets, expanded searches, how to use the advanced search. Then something that I maybe didn't get a chance to talk on really quickly was telling how to export your search results and anything that is like working with author information. There are a lot of different tutorials here on this page as well. So if you ever also need further assistance, you can contact our support page or feel free to email me or Alyssa directly, and we can assist you with any queries that you have. If you also would like to set up another time to have a more advanced session where we can talk about advanced searching and some more information on how to some search strategies, then we can also set up some time for that as well. Because again, Scopus is so large. So we hope that you get some time to fool around with it and play with it. And we're hoping that you guys come back with a lot of questions for us to answer.
Thank you. Before we wrap up, I wanted to give everybody one more chance if they have any questions or any comments. I'm also, in addition to the tip sheets that or the pages of tips that Jerome highlighted, we came up with one specific to UAGC students. Just these are kind of our tried and true techniques that we walk through students through when they call looking for different scholarly discovery techniques, and we've added a link to Scopus on there and sort of walked them through an overview of things like citation indexing and breadcrumbing and all those kinds of helpful techniques that they might use to grow their research. So feel free to share that with students. I also have an HTML announcement about that I will drop in the chat. But let's give another minute or two if anybody's thinking of a question that they want to ask before we let Jerome and Alyssa go for the day. Oh,
I
I
think
see Anna
Anna
has
has
a
a
question.
question.
Yeah.
Hi, yeah. Something that doctoral students often come to me with is how to identify a seminal work in their on their topic. Do we have any like sort of like a standard direction we might share with them? Like, here's a good way to get started on that. Or, and if this is a question that like y'all need some time to like think on and get back to us, I just wanted to put that out there. That's like a request that I get uh, uh, every once in a while. It's like, how do I identify seminal research in my area?
I'm sorry, was that for Karen or was that a question for me? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
No, I think it was for us, Jerome.
Okay, sorry. Right. A good way to let me go back to Scopus. What I would say is you can use our researcher discovery tab. I think that is a good way to find some topic experts within a specific field. And there are some popular searches here. So this is a way that we do to search for like top experts within a field. So if you were, for example, if you were to look at like social psychology, you can then see who we consider to be top experts, which also matches documents from 2022 onwards. But then you can see like the number of matching documents that they have within a specific field, total citations, total documents, and their H index as well. And then you can also preview their profile here. So that's a good starting place if that is something that you think would be interested. I mean, sorry, that PhD students will be interested in looking at. But I think this, for me, like, this is a good way to start looking at topic experts within a field so that I can look at, their research so I can then gauge where I want to start searching. Does that answer your question, Anna?
You
Yeah, thanks so much.
you can
Okay.
also go under, I think, correct me, I don't not 100% on this, but you can correct me, Jerome. They can go under, they can search the documents and go analyze results as well.
Yeah.
And then it'll bring them into like a bigger spectrum of different
Yeah.
topic areas that they can then also search within and dive deeper into, which is really great. We don't really point out this feature very often, but I have to say this is probably one of my favorites within Scopus because there's so much information. You can also see where areas are being funded. So they can look deeper into that too, especially if they're, trying to write a paper or this is a great area of insight.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
More than welcome.
Do we have
So,
any more questions here? We are on the hour, so we don't want to hold up anyone else, but if you do have additional questions, again, please feel free. Karen has the permission to share our email addresses with everyone here as well.
yes.
Also on the scopus.com website, I think Jerome already pointed it out, but there is an area for different questions and tutorial videos and another breadth of so much different knowledge that you can dive deeper into if you'd like.
this was really wonderful. Thank you both for being here. Thank you, Jerome, for showing us so many amazing things about this resource. And I can't wait to just share it with more faculty. Please, everyone tuned in today, let other instructors that you work with, any students that you work with, especially at the graduate and doctoral level, encourage them to try this out. It's such a great resource. And again, thanks to UA Libraries for helping us with their partnership to get this resource for UAGC. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can reach out to the library at uagc.edu or to Jerome and Alyssa, and we'll make sure we get answers to your questions. Thank you all so
Thank
much.
you so very much for having
So
us.
much. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.